a greeting. How are you? You know, I actually like when you say, um,
Good
how are
morning,
you?
handsome.
How are you, King? The royal penis has been washed.
I have never said that.
You you know. People always approach us and they ask, what do successful people do to make themselves great throughout the day?
Well, we have 6 things that successful couples do before 8 a.m.
Six, we're going to jump right into it. What is the first thing that successful couples do before 8 a.m. to make sure that their day starts off great?
This is kind of some things that we've researched, but these are things that we actually do. So the first thing that you and I do is pray. And with that prayer, it is something that I've read in a book, The Power of a Praying Woman by Stormy O'Martian. I'm trying to pick the book up and talk at the same time. But this book was given to me once we got married. And not that I wasn't a prayerful person, but prayer, according to Stormy, is looking to God as a source of all you want to see happen and not worry about how it happens. It's encouragement, it's thankfulness. So it's our responsibility to pray, and it's God's job to answer.
Yeah, and I think that's important because the first thing that I believe successful couples should do is to give honor and glory to God, to their maker, and really just to provide a sense of gratitude. We let God know that we're very grateful that He's woken us up for the morning,
Yep.
that He's given us the energy to do great things. And I don't believe couples really do this enough. I think sometimes things get in the way, business, the kids, work, emails, those darn cell phone devices and emails
Mhm.
and text messages can kind of tend to get in the way. So I think it's important that we give honor to God first thing in the morning. And I think the proof is in the pudding. Successful couples that are great and that are doing great things, that are not arguing throughout the day and having strife and bitterness, the first thing that they do is they give honor to God and they pray.
Right. You're
First
even
step.
even asking God for protection over you as a couple, over your family, and all those things. So that begins our day all the time.
Right, right, right. And number two is, I believe this is something that I'm a big proponent of, is me time.
Yes.
I think that sometimes people think that once you get in a relationship with somebody, you lose yourself, you lose your individuality. But I believe, I'm a firm believer that relationships that recognize and respect individuality of one another are stronger.
Absolutely.
Right. So I think that just because you're in a relationship with somebody, you shouldn't lose your individuality. You shouldn't lose the things that you like doing. And I think that it actually enhances the ability of your partner, your spouse, or whoever you're with at that time to really benefit themselves because they're learning new things, because you're bringing something new to the relationship, because you're not exactly like that person. So I believe me time, taking that time to read, taking that time, to meditate or to do exactly, anything that you feel you need to do to get yourself ready for the day is extremely, extremely important for a successful relationship and couple before 8 a.m. All right.
Yeah, I would add that, when you are carving out me time, that helps make you a better asset to that relationship, to that couple. You bring more to the table. You're able to bring your opinion because the two of you are not exactly the same. And that's why you are together. You don't want to be with somebody that's exactly like you. Like you said before, you may not learn things from one another unless you have that me time to explore your separate interests, to figure out what you actually like individually. And maybe that's something that you're bringing to the couple, and that allows you to succeed at something that, you all have been working on, or goals that you may have set.
So, what are, I guess, some of the me time things for our viewers that you actually engage in to kind of carve out? What's some of the first things you do when you wake up in the morning outside of pray that you yourself do?
Well, I actually post something on Facebook after I do Bible reading. I have a book that gives me a meditative phrase and some explanation to it for every day of the year, 365 days. I read that. And it's geared towards women too. And then I find an inspirational post to put on my social media, because that was very important to me in the beginning when I first started doing it. I think I've been doing that for like 6 or 7 years now. It was very important to me because at one point I used to get those alerts when somebody would like something I posted. And so if they liked that inspirational post, it would force me to look at the alert, the notification, and then read that inspirational post. So now I'm in the habit of reading that daily. So that takes me throughout the day. And then the last thing that I do is start looking at, some emails or things like that. Or, is there an article or something that interests me that pops up in my notifications from my news apps or something like that?
Right. And I can tell you from my standpoint, one of the important things that I do is I'm a rabid reader. So I'm usually reading about 2 or 3 books at a time. So
which I don't know how you do that.
yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yeah. So the first book I read, the first thing I do when I get up in the morning is first of all, I pray, but I read the Bible as well. And I read the thing that I've done is I've turned the book of Proverbs, into a daily devotional. So Proverbs has 31 chapters in it for each day, for each day of the month, specifically when you have 31 days in a month. So for, day 1 of a calendar month, I'm reading Proverbs 1. For day 2 of a calendar month, I'm reading Proverbs 2, and so on throughout the day.
So let me just
or
say,
I should say month.
I didn't know that you read Proverbs in that way. And I read Proverbs 31 every morning.
Right.
The virtuous woman.
Yeah, I read Proverbs. There's a couple of scriptures I read, and this is my me time. I read Psalms 23.
Okay.
I read whatever day of the week or the month, I read the corresponding Proverbs verse, or I'm sorry, chapter for that day.
Okay.
And then I read Ephesians 2 and 10, and I read Galatians 2 and 10.
Okay.
And then I read a chapter in the Old Testament and a chapter in the New Testament. Throughout the year, I try to read the Bible from cover to cover. So that's what I do in my me time.
Wow.
I don't know if, if that, and it takes me roughly 10 to 15 minutes. So it's not that much.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who are like watching this, you're like, man, I don't have that time to do that. But,
yeah,
it's not, you'd be surprised how quickly that devotional goes. It doesn't take that long.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. Yep. So, all right. So what do we got? What's the next step thing that successful couples do before 8 a.m.?
Well, I would say communicate.
That's a good one. Yeah,
so while this is part of my me time, sometimes you and I exchange text messages or memes or videos or links to articles that we find interesting that the other one should probably look at. I even look at things like just the news headlines and whatnot, and I'll let you know this is what I've read or whatever. So that's all a form of communication. But then we also talk to each other. So this is what I say after my me time. I come out to you and I say good morning. Like literally say good morning. And it's usually a kiss, good morning, but I literally say those words to set the tone.
And you know what? And I appreciate that. I noticed that, and I noticed that you are extremely intentional about how you communicate in the morning. And I think that's really a good way to start off a harmonious relationship with the person that you're with, is to, after you've prayed, after you've had your me time, you've done your reading, your devotional, with meditation or whatever you do, the first thing that you should do is acknowledge that you are with somebody, somebody that is laid in the bed with you all night. You should at least acknowledge their existence. And I think what that does is it starts you off on the right foot. So a greeting, how are you? I actually like when you say,
good morning, handsome.
How are you, King? The royal penis has been washed.
I have never said that.
You know what? Now you want to get a shot on the podcast. You ain't never said that.
A line directly from Coming to America.
You know what?
I have
never
said-
said the royal penis has been washed. You've never said that.
I have not. I am not one of the
Well-
actresses that was in the original Coming to America.
Well, maybe we should add that to our. Maybe we should
So
add
let's
that to
move on to the
we need
next
to add that to our
step.
communication.
All right, then. Yeah.
That's for success. You know, ladies, if you want a successful relationship, I'm trying to give you game. You know, I'm
the
trying
power
to give you...
of a praying woman. I have read this several times throughout our marriage of 18 years thus far. Now y'all see why.
I don't know why.
So getting back to the communication.
Okay, get back to the
But
communication.
I do say things that are very positive, like saying good morning, handsome, or good morning, king, or something like that. And I know that sounds real cliche because people be on social media like, hey, good morning, queen, good morning, king. But no, I because it's a new day, because we have not spoken to each other in 5 to 6 hours, because I don't get that much sleep, but you know, I wish there was a day I get 7 hours of sleep or more. But because we have not, this is a fresh start. So it should be greeted in that way.
No, I 100% agree with you on that. And it's just that we are human beings, that we should be acknowledged. And I think the utmost respect that you can give to the person that you're with, the boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whoever you're with, the acknowledgement of their presence.
Absolutely.
And that's a great way to start the day, and do it before 8 a.m. It'd be even better, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So what do we got? What do we got last? Step number 4.
Whoa, step number 4 is something that is part of our lifestyle and has been a part of our lifestyle since second year of law school or first year of law school. I can't remember, second semester.
Mm-hmm.
And it is exercise.
Exercise.
Yes. So it's so funny that I give that description of how long it's been involved in our lives, because we didn't used to work out in the morning. When we were in law school, we work out in between classes whenever we could work it in. But then when we started working our jobs, we used to work out in the evenings. Remember that?
I do remember.
But that was before we got married.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So even as a couple, once we started working out in the morning, I think that was after we got engaged. And it's funny that the timeline is that way.
No, I agree with that. And I think this is a biggie. Not only because it just makes perfect sense that if you're going to be a successful couple, that you be physically fit and that you be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
But this is the one that science has really spoken to.
Okay.
And, you know, if you look at the National Institute of Health, they kind of tell you the benefits that not just couples, but anybody can have by exercising in the morning.
Okay.
So one of those benefits of exercising in the morning is mental acuity, mental awareness, clarity of thought.
That makes sense.
You know, whenever you do any type of physical activity early in the morning, what happens is it gets the blood flowing.
Right.
All right. So it gets your brain flowing. It gets all the other things that you need flowing down in those areas, fellas.
We might talk about that later.
That you need to flow.
You know how we keep getting back to that. But go ahead.
We talking about health. We talking about things that happen in the morning that you should do. So you know, successful couples do the things that people don't normally do. So this is a cheat code, fellas and ladies. If you wondering why you arguing in the morning, you wondering why you forgot to pick up the baby forgot
to pick up the baby. Dang.
you forgot to drop the baby off at the daycare. That's because the blood ain't flowing where it needs to flow, because you haven't exercised. You haven't taken the steps to make sure that you're fit and healthy in the way you need to do. So the National Institute of Health talks about, it's a great article, great information that talks about all the benefits of exercise in the morning. Not only does it deal with mental awareness and mental acuity, but it also fights obesity, BMI, so your body mass index, you know, for, you know, fellas and ladies that are, this has a range of health benefits, because you want to be, I'm going to use an old term. You want to be grown and sexy, right? For your mate.
That's old.
Yeah, that's old. Girl, they haven't said grown and sexy since like 2000, when Master P was saying, grown and sexy. When the last time you seen a grown and sexy plugger?
I have no clue because I don't
Because
remember the
it's
last time I seen a plugger.
old. It's old. They
What you
don't say
trying to say
grown and
about me,
sexy.
man?
Drop something in the comments. If you think that grown and sexy is still a thing, then say something in the comments.
Yeah.
But I digress. So what I would say, mental acuity, the National Institute of Health talks to us about what exercising in the morning, it helps you maintain a healthy BMI, body mass index. And the main and most important thing that it does is it helps us to fight diseases. And we want to be around for our partners. We want to be around for our girlfriends, or, if you got a boyfriend or a spouse, whoever that might be, you want a significant other, you want to be around from them. And it's been proven that when people exercise and they have a daily exercise routine, it helps you operate throughout the day healthy, and it has long-term, long-lasting benefits.
You know what else I think exercise does though?
And what's that?
I think it also helps you sleep better, and then it gives you more energy throughout the day.
And you know what? And that was one of the benefits that was listed in the National Institute of Health article.
Okay.
Yep. Sleep, mental clarity. It's a whole host of things. If you want to look at the article, Google it, you'll find it.
All right. All right. So what's the next thing that successful couples do before 8 a.m.?
Successful couples, what they do before 8 a.m., and this might seem like it's an easy thing, but you'll be surprised that a lot of people don't do it. They don't plan. Successful couples plan. All right. And there's a great book by David Back, and the book is called Smart Couples Finish Rich.
Yes, I remember reading that book.
Yeah, it's a really good book, and I can't remember when it came out, but I remember when I read it. There's so many jewels in that book that couples that are want to get their financial house in order, or just their lives generally in order, happy, the road to financial and social happiness. It's all in that book, because richness is not just finances, it's your relationship as well.
Absolutely.
But that was one of the key topics in that book was planning.
Yeah.
And David Back attributed most failures in relationships, particularly marriages, to the lack of planning.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So couples tend to not plan. And when people think of planning, what they think about is they think that it has to be some grandiose long-term deal. But what we're talking about on this podcast is what do successful couples, the things that successful couples do before 8 a.m. So really what we're talking about is really planning at a very micro level. Right. So we're talking about something that doesn't take a whole bunch of heavy lifting, right?
Right.
We're talking about planning for the day, planning for, what am I going to do today? What tips or steps that I'm going to take, or what things that I'm going to attack for the day? Do I have an appointment that I want to knock off? Do I have a to-do list or checklist?
Right.
The main thing is planning with your mate, or with the person that you're with, and planning what you two are going to do and how you're going to collectively attack the day.
Right. So it's something as simple as you like, okay, so what's the agenda today?
Right.
Or I'll look at the calendar for work and say, okay, do you have this covered? Do I need to help on this? Or I've got to do A, B, C, and D. Does this work? Or do you need something else? Or can you help me on this? So and it doesn't always have to be about work, because people with families, about, like you joked earlier about forgetting the kid at school or daycare, but making sure that stuff is taken care of. Okay, are you picking up little Johnny today? Or are we taking Johnny to mama's house? Or is mama picking him up? Is he taking the bus? Those types of things in the morning. What's the extra activities? Oh, tonight I got a bar association meeting. So I'm thinking that far ahead as a wife about dinner. How can I plan that? What do you have to do this evening after work? Do I need to actually plan dinner, or things like that? And that's around scheduled activities that we have regularly, or, family members may have, children may have activities, practice for sports, things like that. So it's really that simple.
No, I agree. And I think what you and I do a good job of is that, and hopefully this helps somebody that's watching this or listening to it, is I feel that we do a great job of really multitasking a lot of the things that we're talking about on this list. So, exercise is a big component of the six things that successful couples do before 8 a.m. So there have been times where you and I have planned a whole bunch of stuff while we exercise.
This is true.
Right. So
Yeah.
we're planning like, okay, so I have court at 8 a.m. or I have court at 9. And while I'm in court, can you cover, this appointment, this schedule with me?
Right.
Or can you, drop the dry cleaners? I could pick the dry cleaners up while we have a new employee that we're hiring. So can you handle the onboard of that new employee?
Yep.
And all of those things, to me, planning, really what planning does is it gives you a sense of organization in your relationship. And most, I forgot who said this, but I heard somebody say that one of the biggest problems in a relationship is finances is one, and disagreements.
Okay.
Right. And typically disagreements comes from a lack of organized thought and a lack of disorganized communication amongst you. So the more that you could cut out the confusion in terms of who's doing what and where people are supposed to be and when they're supposed to be there, the more harmonious and great that your relationship would be, particularly throughout the day. So I know that Shalise is going to do whatever she says she's going to do at 10. I know that I'm going to cover whatever I'm going to cover at 11. I know that we're going to eat at 12. And all of that takes away the disorganization that leads to fights, that leads to arguments. Just proper plan how you carry out what you need to carry out the day as a couple.
Right. And it leads to, the avoidance of miscommunication.
Right.
I think it goes back to that other point that we said about communicating. Because if you and I have had a discussion about, hey, this is how we're planning the day to go, then I'm not going to think that you are doing this and I miss something, and vice versa. So I think that's a good step.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
So
what's the last?
let's
what's the
round it
last
out.
thing? What's the
6.
last thing that successful
Number 6.
couples do before 8 a.m.? This is number 6.
Number 6. I like that number 6. And number 6 is eat.
Eat.
Yes, you should eat something.
This is a PG show. What are you talking about? Eat. Oh, you talking about food. You talking about food? Okay, all right. I thought you was being a little racy. Oh boy! Go ahead.
I don't even know to laugh at him.
Eat what?
So
you gotta be. We just talked about clarity of communication.
I was not done, Mr. Tolbert.
You have a husband that is extremely attracted to his wife.
And while I appreciate that,
and okay, go ahead.
So
go ahead. Say what you gotta say. Eat what?
Successful couples should eat before 8 a.m. is something for breakfast.
All right.
It does not have to be a sit-down formal breakfast, but I can't stand this man over here. Sometimes y'all seen the podcast before. Y'all see the other episodes what he do to me. So at any rate,
I just said pause. That's all I said.
That's all.
I said pause.
Yeah.
Eat, pause,
okay.
Whatever.
All right.
No, but in all seriousness, and researching, and we're getting ready to talk to you guys on this podcast. This is a very important step that successful people take. And that's making sure that they fuel their bodies.
Yeah.
Right. And, there's an article that I read from Rush Medical Center that talks about the benefits of eating breakfast and healthy foods in the morning. Right. And one of the things, the most important, crucial things, so we're talking about what successful couples do before 8 a.m. And one of the things that really struck out at me in that Rush Medical Center article was mood. This really surprised me, but it makes perfect sense. But people who eat a healthy snack or food in the morning, they have less mood swings. So, you have less mood. You don't have the, it kind of makes me think of the Snickers commercials. You know what No, seriously, it makes me think of the Snickers commercials, like, that you're hungry,
Right.
and your mood is all off, and all you need is
Yeah.
you just need a snack. You need to make sure that your body's fueled. And what
Right.
successful couples do is successful couples make sure they eliminate any and all possible things that can get them off square.
Yeah.
Right. So we talked about planning, because that allows their communications to be clear and no disorganization. With food, that allows for you to keep your mood at a level to allow you to be able to carry out a proper, delightful communication.
Delightful.
You're not snapping off at your boyfriend, your girlfriend, or whoever you're with, your significant other, because you're hungry. So I think eating, and this is something we do. We eat in the morning after we exercise. I'll usually do a protein shake, or I'll do a egg bagel, something very healthy.
I want the audience to understand, we're not talking about you got to have a sit down full on breakfast. Right. I usually eat fruit in the morning, or Michael may, if he prepares a bagel or whatever, his bagel, he'll be like, hey, you want half of this or whatever. Or I am, I think most of the time I'm doing fruit. Sometimes I'm a big kid and I still eat cereal. So it's something, but cereal isn't the most healthy thing. But you can't walk out of the house without fueling your body after you've exercised and you've done these things and you want your day to go well. So because you can be in that quote unquote hangry mood when you don't eat. So you want to make sure that you fuel your body. So what we do, I always make sure that he's had something to eat or he's taking something with them. And I make sure those things are in the house, which goes back to our planning thing. So if it's grapes or bagels or banana or whatever, oranges, apples, something that can be portable for either of us to take so that we've got something to fuel our body.
Right. And what I appreciate about you, and this is something that for people who are watching this, our viewers and listeners, some of the things, because some of you might be saying, well, what is a healthy snack or a healthy meal before 8 a.m.? So one of the things that Shalise does, which I really, truly appreciate, is she packs these little edible almond snacks.
Oh, my little snack bags of almonds and cashews.
Yeah. So you do a little snack bag of almonds that you can just eat. You can eat that on the go, or cashews, or we try to stay away from a whole bunch of sugary treats. So we don't do a whole bunch of processed.
We do the Kind bars.
We try to stay up, but that's just in a rush. Yeah. But as long as you could put something on your stomach and something that you can snack on before 8 a.m., that keeps the mood at where it needs to be, and allows for you also, just like exercise, mental clarity, which allows for you to communicate with the people around you, particularly your spouse or your significant other, in the appropriate manner.
Because when you're fueling your body, you're fueling your mind.
Right. It's all about intentions. It's all about making sure that you take the steps that you need to make sure that you are successful with the person you're engaging with, right? So I think that's extremely important. So that's 6 things.
We're
gonna run down them again.
Well, wait. Before we go through the 6, I think it might be one more that we can add as a bonus.
Well, you was trying to I fought. First of all, I want to say I fought for this topic, but she made me take it off the list. I fought for this topic to make sure that this was a thing.
Always the one
to make sure that this was a thing that couples should do before 8 a.m. And
okay, what did you fight for? What did you fight for?
This is we gonna call this. What we gonna call this is the bonus thing. The bonus. So we have a solid 6 things that successful couples do before 8 a.m. So we're gonna have a +1 onto that, a bonus thing. And my bonus thing, and this is for the grown and sexy.
Oh God, you just told me they don't use that. But go ahead.
You made me feel nostalgic. So I'm gonna say you made me go back to like the 2000s. Okay,
go
so
ahead.
For the grown and sexy, kids in the room, close your ears.
Oh gosh.
Right? Close your ears. If you listen to this podcast and little Johnny's in the room with you, tell little Johnny or little Johnette, whatever her name is, tell them to go. But the bonus thing that successful couples do
Dun, 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 dun.
Before 8 a.m. is
Bum, bum.
bang, 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 bang. They have sex, baby. They have
But
sex.
you know what?
They-
It's so interesting to say that before 8 a.m. because look, sex boosts your energy and your functions for the day, as Michael was talking about, blood flow and things like that. So to do that in the morning, hey, it makes sense. But also, I'm gonna speak to the families where you might have children, and that might be the only time you can get it in the morning before 8 o'clock, before you got to get the kids up and go to school, get everything ready.
Well, I'm speaking for myself,
But
it's a medicinal. It's
medicinal.
Yeah, this is medicinal for me.
I need
like
to. I don't want to ask, but I need to understand.
It just makes it, you know, my blood pressure and everything is. I get a little, you know, a little taste. Yeah, everything.
Why did you just do the nasty Nelson for Boomerang?
Yeah, my blood pressure. I went to the doctor and the doctor was like, "Hey, you have been having sex before 8 a.m."
That's exactly what he said.
And I was like, "Well, how did you know, doc?" And he was like, "Man, all your levels, your blood pressure." He was like, "Man, your blood pressure, you had diabetes, is all gone."
No, wait. You had the sugar, and so the sugar disappeared because
I didn't have a hand.
Sex before 8
I didn't have a hand. Listen, I did not have a hand, and then I had sex before 8 a.m. It was like,
Who did you have sex with when you ain't have a hand?
My hand. Okay. I was like, look.
I'm done with the podcast.
Everything was like, listen, like
this is
until I had listen.
No.
I did not before I had sex before 8 a.m. And my hand was like,
it just grew.
It grew.
It did.
That and some other things grew.
This is why this is bonus.
That's why she wouldn't let me have it in the top 6 things. But no, seriously, in all fairness,
there are health benefits too.
Fairness, there are health benefits to having sex, intimacy. And you know, obviously, we're a married couple. You know, we not passing judgment on y'all. Now we're not encouraging people to backslide and do all those things.
Not
but for all the grown people, out there that's married, you know, consensual. Yeah, make sure it's consensual. We don't want a diddy situation.
How did you get diddy into
baby oil and all kind of stuff? No, we need what we talking about is consensual before 8 a.m. And you know, hey, I'll say it this way. You're wondering, so how can you have sex? Because you know, I got a job, I got to be at the job by 8, right? So we're not talking about we just talking about a little quickie.
We don't need no rose petals all over the bed and some wine and romantic dinner. No, just get it in.
We talking about a nice little quickie, you know, and it boosts your metabolism. Sex has been known as, for me, is medicinal. It's medicinal.
You and this medicinal.
It is. It's medicinal. You know, it has some medicinal qualities to it, right?
And it's positive because then, you know, hey, I feel attractive. I feel good. I'm cute today.
Yeah, man. Like I show up to work loose in a mug, man. Shoot. Everything looks like the Da Vinci Code. I saw that Rubik's Cube.
I'm so done with you.
All those things.
Did you just do the motion of solving the Rubik's Cube?
The Rubik's Cube. Yeah.
That looked like remember the shake weight? That's what it looked like you was doing.
Nah, you be doing the shake weight. Do it again.
I can't.
And I ain't gonna edit this either.
I know you're not.
They gonna have to hear it. They grown. People who listen to this podcast grown anyway. So all right. We didn't do what we gotta do.
We gave you 6 plus 1.
6 plus 1, and that plus 1 was a doozy. It was a doozy. So we're gonna go through them again.
Are we
Number
really?
1 is pray. Number 2 is me time. Number 3 is communicate. Number 4 is exercise. Number 5 is planning. Number 6 is eat food. Eat food. And number 7 is if you got time,
get it in.
A little quickie to get you a little medicine. You get your little medicine in, folks. And
right.
you will be
So-
successful if you follow those 6+1 tips, couples that are listening to this.
Yes.
You won't, trust me, you won't, especially if you do that bonus. You won't be fighting. You won't be fighting throughout the day. Y'all won't be arguing.
You ain't
Nothing
gonna
can
argue.
knock you off
Mm-mm.
of your path to success, wealth, and happiness. And this is Married People's Business, and that's what we all about: wealth, success, happiness. But more importantly, what we are about is keeping God first. And we really appreciate you all tuning in on this podcast, listening, watching, or however you do it. And what we're going to ask that you do is, if you like the information that we gave you, we're going to ask that you subscribe, ask that you follow. We're going to ask that you share it. We're going to ask that you hit the like button, because what that does is it helps us share more positive content like this.
Absolutely.
Right? So keep God first. We really appreciate you all listening, and talk to you soon. God
Bye-bye.
bless. Bye-bye.